Good afternoon, everybody. Can you guys hear me all right? Thank you, Joanne. Beautiful day, end of year barbecue, fantastic. Thanks to everybody for the food. I'm here this afternoon with the privilege and honor of being able to talk about Connor Wilson. About a year and a half ago, Connor arrived, January, spent all of the second half of the year last year with us and returned for a full year this year. When I think of Connor, I think of someone much more mature than his years, intelligent, reliable, self-motivated, driven, incredibly talented, and he does absolutely everything calm, cool, and collected. He arrived to fulfill a brand new internship position, and that quickly turned into assistant hockey operations, assistant varsity boys hockey coach, thirds hockey coach, admissions, became a real multi-talented jack of all trades. An incredibly talented young professional, devoted to absolutely everything that he took on. Never told anybody what he did, just quietly went about his business and did it. Connor, having worked with you really closely, I can tell you that I really have appreciated the last year and a half. I'm really gonna miss you. We are really gonna miss you. And we're really thankful that our paths have crossed again, 10 years later. For those of you that may or may not know, Connor's off to Boston, Massachusetts. He's been studying, fulfilling his master's from a distance, and now he wants to get it done. So he's gonna go back to Beantown and get that done full time. And I'm very confident that we're gonna see your name associated to a pro sports team one day. So, Connor Wilson, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I get to go second tonight. Okay, is that better? All right, so I have the honor of talking about two wonderful people who have been in our department for 2 years.
You have to talk right into it. I don't know if we can picture that.
Get your germs on that.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to talk right into this with the helicopter going over. I get to talk about two wonderful people who have been in our department, one for a year and a half and one for 2 years. Two young, I call them youngsters. They're as young as my children, so they're kids. But they have been wonderful assets to the math department, to the houses, to the sports programs, and to the school as a whole. First of all, I want to talk about Patrick. So Patrick came to us to fill in last year in middle of winter, and he lived across the street but did everything at school. He got into coaching, he got into extra help, and this year he moved into the house with his girls, who now met number 3, and he just was involved in every aspect of school life. He's been a wonderful addition. I've loved working with him. He's very level-headed, very easygoing, but never says, no, I can't do that. I wish Patrick and Ariel and Abby and Ellie all the best as he moves on to Taft School. They have got a wonderful thing coming in their future. So congratulations, Patrick. Secondly, Miss Anna Pajovic, who is, there's a truck. So Anna is going, is that better?
Yes.
Oh, it was not turned on. That's why. So Anna's going back to Montreal. Her partner Mathieu has just started a new job there. And for the meantime, she's going to be learning to coach tennis en français. So when she comes back to beat Mr. Van Dyke, it will be multilingual. Anna has also been an integral part of the school for 2 years now. She's been in the house. She's been a real asset to the tennis program, a wonderful math teacher. She stepped up and taught science for 2 years and did a great job with that as well. She's got lots of energy, and she may be traveling the world and teaching in either Australia or in Serbia at some point, but she also said she wouldn't rule out coming back to Stansted at some day. So we would love to have her back. All the best, Anna.
Miss you, kiddo. Oh, thank you.
We have a few milestones this year. And to talk about the first of those who are hitting milestones, I'm going to invite Donna to speak a little bit about one of those people.
I have nothing prepared. So, Marie-Eve is celebrating her 20th year here at the college. We've worked together, I guess, for 18 years. I've been here 18 years. Marie-Eve is, how can I say, a great friend. Okay, a great friend. Someone very calm, someone very helpful to anybody, friendly, just a lot. Always a good friend to me, always somebody I can speak to and kind of calm me down when, you know, some of you teachers kind of get on my nerves. But she's always a calm voice of reason, Marie-Eve. And I've loved working with her. She knows everything at this school, really. Need anything, Marie-Eve is the one to go to. A lot of people say, go see Donna, she knows it. Marie-Eve knows more than Donna. So that's, yeah. Congratulations, and I love working with you, and hopefully we can spend another, well, I don't want to be here forever, but maybe 5 years together. So good. Come on, Maya. That was so great. That was a great speech. Okay, I'm gonna need. Okay. Do you want to say anything?
Thank you, Donna. It's been a pleasure being here for 20 years, and you're all great people, and you make my job easy. You're all great people to work for, and you never give me a hard time, so I guess that's a big part of it. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. And just like to welcome back, I asked Suzanne Marat to come back and join us. She hasn't been here since she retired in 2020 and worked with Marie-Eve for all of those beginning years. So welcome back, Suzanne. Glad to have you here. I'd like to invite Chris Planetta to say a few words, please.
Yeah, exactly. No screen over here. I was told there'd be a screen. I was told there'd be a working microphone. Mr. Prevo, can you set this a little higher for me, please?
Where do I start? Is this thing loud enough? All right, where do I start? Festival, 20 years ago, I came onto campus ready to start my second year here at Stansted College. Suddenly I saw this young, athletic person, shorts on, baggy t-shirt, thick head of dark hair, and I realized I was looking into a mirror. But then I turned around, and there was Aaron, a fresh, new, wide-eyed science teacher who had so much energy and passion, I knew she'd be able to hit the ground running. The joke is that Erin cannot go anywhere without running into someone she knows or someone she's related to. Whether she has spotted a car on the Champlain Bridge with Nova Scotia plates and tries to flag them down with honking, or to last weekend's baccalaureate, where I got a message on Teams that said, quote, "Did you see Anderson Trider's father? We went to high school together." I was not surprised. Erin and I are from the same province and went to the same university, and I remember the time we went to the St. FX alumni event in Montreal. Then we drove across town to see Nova Scotia's own Sloan play a set at a club, and then drive back to Stansted. We were much younger then. When Erin was hired, we were all assistant house directors together. She was the assistant in Colby, I was the assistant in Davis, Carrie Reynolds was the assistant in Webster, and Rob Davies was the assistant in Bugby. Rob, if you don't know, is from Nova Scotia. Did Erin know Rob, this random person that got a job here, before he showed up? Of course she did, yes. He showed up and they recognized one another in the dining hall, of course. And as house directors, what we used to do is take turns going to one another's apartment to watch 24. These 24 nights became a weekly tradition on campus among the assistant house directors. And I could be wrong, but I believe she came up with the term Jeff Hulling the food. Jeff Hulling the food. Coining a new phrase there. Erin has had many experiences at Stansted College. How many can say that they've performed a variety show? But there was a time where she practiced the bass and played Proud Mary with Eric and Eric on the stage for a variety show. And on the way back from Rugby Fest one spring, Erin wrote a poem called This Could Be Our Try, which Eric Grenier set to music and surprised all of us with its debut at the variety show. Besides those special skills, Erin has also become an authority on preparing turkeys for Thanksgiving. I have seen oven roasted, I have seen deep fried, and I've even seen a turkey propped on top of a beer can on top of a barbecue. Speaking of experiences, Erin and Carrie were prepping and testing some science demonstrations in the lab once and almost blew the place up. Almost. Once. I suspect this experience led to her decision to join the local fire department. Many hours of lost sleep from going out at night answering the call for the community. Students are always Erin's focus. Erin can be found in her office sometimes at 7 a.m., sometimes at 11 p.m. to help a grad with a college application. And while most teachers look forward to spring break as a time of getting away from students, Erin has circled the globe many times with dozens of our students on Habitat for Humanity missions. You probably noticed a theme generating here. Erin is always giving up her time for others. Little did I know back in 2003, 20 years later, she'd become much, much more than an incredible teacher. She's also a compassionate university guidance counselor, an enthusiastic coach, a devoted house director, a mentor to new teachers, a brave dog sitter. She's a selfless first responder, and a role that I've treasured the most for the past 20 years, and the role that many others too, is that of a kind, fun, adventurous friend. Erin is a friend to everyone and a lifeline to all. So to my Costco membership buddy, my Netflix password sharer, my Halloween costume partner, the egg to my bacon, the lobster to my chef, please join me in congratulating my friend and yours, Erin Hession.
Thank you so much. Hearty handshake. Thanks for everything. That's for you. That's for you.
Just give me the gifts.
This is for you. You might need a wheelbarrow to. That's yours as well. Thank you.
I never used to cry in public. Well, anyway, you know, it's kind of like the pregame speech when you know that what you're about to say is super important, but you don't know how to say it, and you just have to close your eyes and feel it. If you go back 20 years, Amy and Mike, Mary Ev, Rob Davies, Natalie Roy, Tracy Harding, many of them are no longer here, but it was quite a beginning. Chris talked about that first night, and I literally left the first party after my second day here, and I walked back to my apartment in Colby at about 8 o'clock. And I cried myself to sleep. And I think many people here probably didn't predict that I would still be here 20 years from now. Not that I couldn't last, of course, because I can last, but that I would go home, but I made a home here. And that's because of you. And I'm very, very grateful, not only to have had such wonderful people to work with all this time, but most importantly, that you have shared your most important gift with me. When I look around here and I see how many of you whose children you have entrusted to my care, it is overwhelming. And I am very, very grateful that you shared that such precious gift with me. And I don't take it lightly. And we've been all over the world. There's been deep, deep lows, but there has been some epic, epic peaks. And I'm forever grateful. So thank you very much to my friends and colleagues.
Mr. Van Dyke, do you think you could come up here? Mr. Van Dyke.
Is this loud enough, or do I need a mic? If I need a mic, it's fine. Karina, can you hear me? All right. So Mike Wolf has been our headmaster for 20 years or something like that. I'm not sure. It might be 18 years plus 2 doing advancement. The real number might be 31 years, since I think he was working for Stanislaus College before I started in 1993. So way back then, our board hired Mike as some kind of Alec Baldwin expert to run a fundraising campaign to raise money for Webster House. Yeah, raising money, it's a tough racket. So then Webster was built, and he left for a few years, went out east to get married to do some other capital campaign type job. But while he was out east, he had fallen in love so hard with this little boarding school that he stayed on the board of trustees during those years and maneuvered his life around so he could finally return for good in, I think, 2003. Then a couple years later, boom, suddenly he's the interim headmaster. A year later, boom, he's the full-time headmaster, the big boss, and that was me. I think it's 2005, and now it's 2023. And here we are today at the end of the journey. As you can see, I'm not 100% sure of the dates and the exact specific years that Mike did what where, but to be completely honest, I don't really care that much. What I do care about is that Mike Wolf's been bleeding red and white in some way, shape, or form for a long, long time. Let's say since like 1992. Like Joanie, where were you born? Say your year. 92, okay, 92. Karina, when were you born? So 5 years before Karina's birth, Mike Wolf has been bleeding red and white and running this whole show for most of the time that he was doing that. So that is what I care about. So I asked a couple people, what are Mike's accomplishments as a headmaster? They came up with some good stuff. The most obvious being how much the school has thrived from less than 180 students when he took over to 270 or so now. It's a 50% increase. That's pretty insane. There's also the campus itself, new residences, new gym, new arena, new health center, in addition to a ramped up effort to beautify the grounds. He's also been a big part of our improved alumni relations, hitting the road and friend raising as much as he fundraises. But I realized I didn't care that much about those things either, at least not as it pertains to why I'm up here talking about them. Because honestly, like, what's a headmaster really do during the day anyway? He's got to do something from 8 to 4, like headmastery things, I assume. As far as I know, some other competent headmasters could have done the same things that Mike did. I mean, that's the job, right? Like, someone's got to do the administrative things, hire people, deal with parents, go to meetings, make big decisions. I'm willing to concede that Mike was good at those things. I'll even say solidly above average. But he had 20 years to pad his resume, a few buildings, more kids to deal with, some new trees, 3 free skates a year. Is it really that impressive? So now, I'm obviously being a little facetious, but I do want to make a point, and it's this. For me, what sets Mike Wolf apart, way apart, from his headmaster peers, has nothing to do with finances, enrollment, or construction projects. No. What sets Mike Wolf apart, why I respect him as much as I do, is all the stuff he did that was above and beyond the official headmaster job description. Way, way above and way freaking beyond. So like coaching, heads don't coach. They don't need to coach. In my time here, Mike, as headmaster, coached football, girls hockey, softball, bantam boys basketball, remember Brendan Heath, tennis, and of course, badminton, which he single-handedly put on the map at Sansa College. Like heads don't need to run a club, but one of Mike's passions was running the reading club, whose members were many and whose announcements were even more. Like opening his home for any party or reception that we could think of. Like opening his garage for whatever sports equipment a student may need. Like his steadfast attendance at any and all sports and animation events. Like how, despite how busy he is, he's the first person to volunteer for emergency supervision or chaperoning. He's a head, by the way, remember he's a headmaster while I'm talking about these things. Like running 10 kilometers or miles, I'm not sure, 10 per day for 100 days to raise money for charity. Like coaching badminton in the fall and the winter and the spring. Who else does 3 terms in a row to help the kids get through that COVID year? Like how when he was in advancement, he created the comparative politics course that James Ryu now teaches. Like how he welcomes the staff into his home every month for coffee time. Like how he always thinks of alumni first when hiring, giving us people like Jesse McCrae, Karina Guerrera, Adam Spurk. They can't all be good ideas, but finally, what sets him apart is the relationships he forges with students. Most headmasters have a distant, arm's length relationship with the kids, but not Mike. He's on the front line. He gets to know as many kids as he can, as meaningfully as he can. Drew Lippy is not some one-off. When multiple kids invite their headmaster to their wedding, you know how much Mike cares about having meaningful relationships with the students in his care. Those are the things that set Mike apart. He's not your parents' headmaster. He is much, much more. So I used to wonder, what separates us from BCS? Like, why are we so much better? And it's a true thing. I'm not going for laughs.
I agree.
And I figured out the answer. It's because of how willing we are to go above and beyond, to go the extra mile. But that has to start at the top. There's no way I'm putting in 80 hours a week if my boss is some clock puncher. But my boss, for the last 20 years, is putting in 90 hours a week. My boss looked at what a normal headmaster is supposed to do and said, that's not enough for me, I can do better. So that's what I do, that's what we all do. So that's your legacy, Mike, us. The hardest working, most caring, most unthinkingly selfless faculty and staff you could ever want. Why are we better in BCS? It ain't the buildings. It's the business office making desserts, the cleaning ladies dressing up for Halloween, coaches giving up their weekends without even thinking about it, teachers giving extra help, house directors being with kids at the hospital for like 12, 16 hours. It's being a caring advisor. It's Habitat for Humanity, Cafe Cap, the school play, and the Stan State yard sale. It's lacing up sneakers for staff prefect games, watching kids play sports, and it's talking to kids at lunch. It's an overarching, baked-in feeling that we all have of selflessness. That if it's good for the kids, then it doesn't matter how it impacts our lives. We don't even think about it. We don't debate it. We just do it. All of us. It's the Stan State College way, and it all starts with you, Mike. So we are your legacy. So to one of my career role models, to the personalized photos with motivational quotes you gave every single football player, to the fact that for you, the worst thing about becoming headmaster was losing your advisees, to your endless capacity for useless biographical trivia, to you digging into garbage bags to separate the garbage from the recycling, to you abandoning me at the Dell with Bobby Fischer in my first week at the school, to the endless notes and articles you used to keep in your blazer pocket you clip out for your colleagues. Here, I've got something for you. To your Glengarry Glen Ross quotes, to the secret meetings at the Derby Line Park where you put together your first administrative team, to Rockstar In Excess, sweet Susie McNeil, to leaving Andy Elliott in charge of the dining hall while we self-servingly extended that infamous sports assembly reception, to DJing in my backyard with your 1970s music cassettes. Kids, that's something that was before CDs, and to your jogging style, which I'll always remember looks so slow but efficiently covers so much ground. To c'est pas une petite erreur, c'est une grande erreur. To you barely, and I mean barely, keeping it together during your Remembrance Day speeches. To Mike McNamara's auspicious debut. To your contribution as a solid third-line player on the Iceman. To Agar's, yes. And finally, to how you have to wipe tears from your eyes whenever Adam really gets you laughing. Congratulations, Mr. Wolf, on whatever number of years you've been here. You were Stansted's most passionate volunteer and loudest cheerleader. You directed from the back and you led from the front. You made a real difference. You should be proud. My good friend, Mike Wolf.
I remember when Eric first got here, I met him, and after about 2 weeks, he said, "I'm staying here for the rest of my life," which shows you his love for Stansted and his dedication, and it's been a privilege to know Eric all this time, and always try to think, you know, what does separate us from other schools, and I think you just captured that, everybody's willingness to go the extra mile. And I told this story at the Case Heads Conference. When I was in grade 13, I was playing football, and we had a pretty good team. We won the Toronto Championship when I was in grade 12, and then in grade 13, and I was not the star. I played, but I was in no way a star. But we had a star. We had a guy whose name was Jeff Somerville, and he was a fantastic football player, played at Western, played at Laurier. And I remember after we won the final game, the Toronto Star and the Toronto Sun were interviewing him. And he said, they said, you know, well, Jeff, you had a great game, like you won the championship. And the guy said 3 words. 3 words. He said, team effort, man. That's all he said. That was the quote. And I've always tried to keep that in mind. It is a team effort. No one can do any of our jobs without the help of others. So I just, I don't want to say I hope, I know everybody will give Joanne their support and continue the team effort. It's been an honor for our family to be here and to benefit, and to still have, you know, my son here working. So, thank you, and good luck, everybody. Thanks.
Kind of hard to say anything after that, so I'll just maybe let that be. And thank you all so much for a great year. Looking forward to many more with you. And yeah, it's an honor, and it will continue to be. Thank you all. Thank you.